Have you thought of how Web APIs and Unity apps communicate with each other? If you have not figured it out properly, you are in the right place. Hello everyone and welcome to your channel. In this section, we're gonna design our game in Unity Engine. Because in next part, we will be working on the logics and codes. Without wasting any time, let's dive into this part. Run Unity and create new project and call that Products Web API app. Click on Create Project. Right-click in Hierarchy panel and create an image for UI menu. Click on Canvas and in Canvas Scaler change UI Scale mode to scale with screen size. Select 1280 by 720 resolution as a reference resolution. For match, select 0.5. We don't need this image component for this object. Call the subject inputs container. Right-click on Canvas and add an input field. Import TMP Essential and click on this button. Close it. Expand this input field. And call the subject name input field. For width, select 400 and for height, select 70. For placeholder and text, select these two buttons. And change the font size to 35. Change the scene view to 2D, click on the subject, then press F to focus on. Change text wrapping mode for both of them to no wrap. I think there is a problem with displaying placeholder. Run the game to enforce Unity to redraw all the graphics again. Collapse input field, select canvas and right-click on it, and add button to the scene. Change its name to add button. Expand it and change the text TMP to text. And for the value type, add only. Change text wrapping mode to no wrap, and for the font size, change it to 35 as well. For width, select 400, and for height, select 70, just like input fields. Change its color to green, and for vertex color, select white. For input container object, add vertical layered group component. Select these two objects and drag and drop them on input container. Select container and then F to focus on it. Press Alt and Shift to change the position and pivot and select this one. Press Ctrl and D to duplicate Add button. Change the name to Edit button. Duplicate this object 4 times by pressing Ctrl and D. Rename them to appropriate names according to the fields of the product table in database. Change the color of Edit button to blue. Set 0 value to both of width and height fields for this inputs container. Press W and change the position of the object. Right-click on canvas and create an empty object. Change its name to Products Scroll Rect. Set 0 to both of width and height. Press Alt and Shift and change the position and pivot temporarily. Right-click and create another empty object and call that viewport. For width, select 400 and for height, change it to 420 temporarily. Select viewport and right-click, then create another empty object and call that products container. Reset width and height to 0. Right-click on canvas, then from UI select image. Call that item container. Right-click on it and create empty object. Change its name to labels container. Deactivate these two objects temporarily. Select item container and change the value of width to 400. And for height, select 200 temporarily. Add horizontal layout group component to this object. Select canvas and add button to the scene. Change its name to Retrieve button. Change text TMP to text only. For the text value type, retrieve. Select retrieve button and change width and height value. Set 200 for width and 50 for height. Change text color to white, and for retrieve button change the color to blue. Select text object and change the size to 28. Duplicate this button and call this delete button. Change its color to red. Ctrl D to duplicate this object and call it buttons container. Right-click on Canvas and add Text Mesh Pro text to it. Call that name text. For the width, select 300, and for the height, select the default value. For the text alignment, select this middle button, and for the font size, select 28. Change text value to the name. Duplicate name text and call it price text. For text alignment, select right button. Change text value to price. For price text, change the value of the width to 100. Put name text and price text under labels container. And these two buttons under buttons container. Select item container and add vertical layout group component to it. Select item container and change the value of height and width to it. I think the value of 120 is good for height. Select name text object and change text color to black, and do the same for price text. Select item container and enable the hide for control child size property in vertical layout group components. I think we need to increase the width of this object a bit more. Something like 420 might be a good amount. To get the best result, giving some left padding might be a good idea. So select item container and give it a little padding from the left in vertical layout group components. At this point, I'm gonna create a folder for prefab objects. So right-click on Assets in Project View and create a folder. Call that Prefabs and then drag item container object into this folder. I forgot to change the text value of the red button. Expand it and change the text value from retrieve to delete. Collapse all the nodes and drag the item container into the prefabs folder and convert it to a prefab. Now we are safe to remove it from hierarchy panel. Activate these two items because we want to work on products scroll rect object. At first, select products container and add vertical layout group to it. Change the size of viewport to 420 for width and 440 for the height temporarily. Now it's time to put item container under products container. Copy this item a couple of times. At the follow, we need to change pivots and positions for all the objects below products scroll rect object. So select this one and click on Anchor Presets to it. Hold Alt and Shift, then select top left button to this object. For viewport object also we do the same. No need to manipulate this object. As you can see, for item container the height is 120. It's better to change the value of height for viewport to 5 times the height of every item container in here, because we want a mask viewport to reveal these 5 items only. So click on Window and open up Calculator. In here type 5 times 120. Close Calculator and put the value of 600 in here temporarily, because we might change it later. At the follow, we need to add some components to these objects. For example, to this one, I'm gonna add a scroll rect component to it. For content, we assign products container. And for viewport in here, assign viewport object. I think if we mask 4 items of 5, it gives us better results. Some value like 480. We can change it later if needed. Select viewport again and add mask component to it. Now if you wanna review components for products scroll rect object, we have a scroll rect component in here. And for products container object, we have vertical layout group, and we should add content size filter component as well. As you may notice, this component allows us to scroll properly. Just for vertical fit, select preferred size. For the viewport object with the mask component, we also need to add the image component for it to work properly. But before that, I'm gonna reposition product scroll rect object. Let's give it a try and see what we have done so far. As you can see, there are some problems with products scroll rect object. The first one is about horizontal movement, which we don't want that for this object. The second one about elastical movement of scroll rect components. And the last problem is about the mask component, which it doesn't work properly because we have not added image component yet. Stop the game and back to editor again. Select products scroll rect object, and in scroll rect component unlock horizontal property and change movement type from elastic to clamped. Select viewport and add image component to it. For image component to be applied by mask component, first uncheck the mask component, then check it again. Let's give it a try again. As you can see, all the functionality work perfectly fortunately, and there is no problem anymore. At the follow, I'm gonna change the value of background type for environment component in main camera object. So select main camera, and in here change the background type from a skybox to solid color. Then set your desired color to it. For products container, it's better to have little gap between item containers. To achieve this, we first need to select the viewport object and change the image color. Then select the products container and change the spacing value of the vertical layout group component to whatever value you like. I think this color is better than the previous one. No need to these 4 items anymore. You can delete them from here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this part as well. If you find this video was helpful to you, don't forget to like or subscribe to my channel.